Hi, you guys. My name is Haley. It's nice to meet you all. Before we get into business today, I would just like to give a brief introduction about who I am. I've been an SAT, ACT, and other standardized test exam preparation teacher for the past 10 years or so in Apgujeong, Seoul. And it's just so rewarding to be able to work with students who want to really achieve their full potential and their goals, and for me to be able to help out with that. I will really try to make, even if our class is going to be online, I'm going to strive to make it a very engaging and fun session where we can really interact and ask questions as much as we can. And I'm just so looking forward to all the students, meeting all the students in Bellevue. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about the key differences between SAT reading and the ACT reading so that you can figure out which test would be better suited for you. Okay, so let's begin. Now, in terms of the reading material on each respective test, you're going to get similar stories with both exams. You're going to get a mix of literature, humanities, science passages, and social science passages, regardless of which test you take. Also, you're going to see a paired passage in both tests, so that's the same. But there is a key difference in each of the passage, which is compared to the ACT, SAT contains a greater proportion of passages that are much more older or more antiquated. So for that reason, it can be a little bit difficult to comprehend or understand the passage for some students, because I think the oldest passage that the SAT ever gave was written in 1984. So those kind of passages might use some antiquated words and vocabulary that you are not familiar with. But that doesn't mean to say that you should just cross off SAT from your option, because you do have to consider the fact that ACT is all about the sprint. You do have to be very good at managing your time. You do have to be very good at skimming. So there is that pro and con of both the SAT and ACT. So we'll get into that a little more further in detail later on. Now, there's a big difference between the SAT and ACT in that the SAT has evidence questions. And these questions are the ones that look like this, where it asks, hey, which choice provides the best evidence to the previous question? And it goes hand in hand with the previous question. And these kinds of questions on the SAT comes out pretty frequently. I would say 1 to 2 questions per passage look like this. And you're going to have to carefully read the lines referred to each of these questions to determine whether they do have the supporting evidence in them. And so this adds a very subtle layer of complexity to the test. And so, it may be challenging for you to get the answer right for this evidence question if you don't know what you're looking for in the previous question. And so what oftentimes ends up happening is either kids, in a good case, they get both right, or they get both wrong, or sometimes they get one right and the other wrong if you don't know what you're doing. So my advice for you is that if you struggle with these kinds of interconnected questions and or you don't have concrete reasons for selecting an answer, then it might be better for you, or you might find ACT easier to solve than the SAT. So this next slide is a graph and table and charts in the SAT, which the ACT does not have in its English section. And there's usually going to be graphs, charts, and tables in the SAT reading passages that ask you to understand, hey, do you know how to interpret these graphs or tables as it relates to the passage? So the reason that the SAT has this but the ACT doesn't is because ACT covers this kind of data analytical skills in the science section, and the SAT doesn't have a science section. So that's why in the reading, SAT is going to have such graphs, tables, and charts, and the ACT is not going to deal with that in the reading section, but in the science section instead. Another thing that's significantly different from the SAT and ACT passage is its breakdown of the long passages. The ACT doesn't always give you line numbers in the questions. So for especially like the little detail questions where you're going to have to find the little details and the little pictures within the passage, you might have to go through skimming the whole reading passage to find the answer. And so that's going to require a little bit of time to find if you're not a fast skimmer. That's why the ACT, it's really all about that sprinting. It's about that time, being able to come in and finish within the time limit that they set. Whereas the SAT, they usually give you line references. For example, it would look something like this. This is from the SAT. So as you can see in number 38, it gives you specific line references as to where to look. So that's why you can even read the questions first and then go back to parts of the passage by using the line numbers in some cases. But for the ACT, because it doesn't give you specific line references most of the time, you're going to have to at least skim the entire passage, even if you read the questions first. So my advice for you is that if you have a good memory for long passages and you do know where each detail lied, then you will have an advantage in the ACT. But if you're not very good at picking out information by skimming the passage, then the SAT might be a better option for you. So I was going to talk more about timing, right? So here's a breakdown for you. As you can clearly see, there's less time for ACT questions because you have 40 questions that you have to solve in 35 minutes, which equates to 52 seconds per question. Whereas the SAT, you have 52 questions that you get to solve in 65 minutes, which is equivalent to 75 seconds per question. That's about like 20 something seconds longer for the SAT that you have on each question, so it gives you a little bit more leisure. For some of you, this may not seem like a major difference, but those extra seconds really add up when you're trying to answer all the questions right in a given time. So my advice is that if pacing is a problem for you, then you might find the time constraints of the SAT a little more manageable. So the ACT pros, I would like to mention a couple of important things here. First of all, I would say that the ACT might be an easier test than the SAT in these 4 ways. First of all, the questions are much more direct. What I mean by that is that the answers are so explicitly stated in the passage for the ACT, especially for questions that begin with according to or based on the passage. When you see those kinds of keywords, you know that it's going to be right there in the passage somewhere, so evident, so explicitly stated. Another pro is that the language used in the questions in the overall ACT exam is much less convoluted than the SAT. It uses much more straightforward words, and therefore, thirdly, the readability is much easier, I would say, for the ACT. Like I said, the SAT gives you more time, but think about the passages that the SAT gives. Sometimes in the literature portion, you might get a Jane Eyre passage or a Charles Dickens passage, and sometimes passages from pre-19th century that uses more archaic vocabulary. So if you're not familiar with these kinds of archaic words, then you may have an easier time with the ACT. And the ACT also does not give you historical documents, which some students have a really, really difficult time with. So because history passages, history documents, they have, again, archaic words because they were written in the past. And also these people in the past, they used to write long, long sentences that never seem to end. So it could be a little bit difficult when it comes to reading comprehension. So those are the things that you might want to think about. But please do remember that the ACT does come with a catch. You have to be able to skim the passage quickly. Like I said, it's all about the timing. So yeah, the ACT might have less inferencing questions and easier questions that are thrown at you. But if you're not able to locate the answers in the given amount of time, then that's going to be a problem, right? Also, while the SAT does usually tell you what line they're referring to in a certain question, and also one big thing is the SAT deals with the questions in a chronological order. And what I mean by that is that the SAT reading gives questions in the order of the passage. So even if it doesn't give you a specific line reference, you usually know about where you should be looking to find the answer. On the flip side, the ACT questions do not have that. So this again means that you must be good at skimming the passage effectively so as to remember, oh yeah, this was where the information was located. You got to be able to find that paragraph or that specific sentence quickly in order to be able to solve the question effectively, right, and quickly, right? So if you can't do that, the ACT reading will only frustrate you and you'll waste your precious time. So an important ability for the ACT would be to remember the locations of the details in the passages.